All right, welcome back to the indoor wood stove story or journey that we've been on. If you have not been following along, we recently installed this brand new Vermont Bunbaker XL. It's a wood stove that we're using to heat our home, as well as it has an oven down below it here, and it has a cook surface on the top as well. So we're using it for multiple things. The only one on the market that I found that was anywhere near, this size and capacity and that had these types of features on it, besides going with like a whole kitchen, cook stove deal, which we did not want to do. So one of the things that I was most excited about with this wood stove was being able to bake and cook with it. And so we've been trying out a few different things here cooking with it. Now there's a little bit of a learning curve as far as the temperatures and how things heat up and cool down, how to regulate temperatures and things like that in the oven. But we've used actually the cook surface quite a bit, and it works perfectly for cooking and frying. We use cast iron pans. Heated up some hot dogs the other day for lunch. And basically you just remove the little, there's a circle on the top there, a piece of cast iron that you just remove and move out of the way, and you can throw your cast iron right on the top, get a nice hot fire going like this, and the flames actually curve. They kind of curve right up past that burner area on either side, and they'll allow you to cook. Pan gets really hot pretty quickly, and it just depends on the fire. Now you can regulate the fire you have using the air vents. There's a primary air vent here down below, and then a secondary air vent here at the top, and so you can really regulate the temperature of the fire. You want something in there burning really good with a nice high flame on it to get it really hot on the surface, I found. And also the center, actually in between the two burners, is actually one of the hotter areas, and so you can actually cook with a griddle right on the top in the center of this, for pancakes or meats or other things like that. But the cook surface is actually pretty easy to use. So a little bit of a learning curve with adjusting the fire and getting the temperatures the way you want it. But with cast iron pans, it's very forgiving because it heats up and cools down very slowly, and so you can regulate the temperatures pretty good in a pretty good range anyway when you're cooking on the top. So. And we have tried out the oven as well. So the first experience we had was making our homemade pizzas. Now we make homemade pizzas almost once a week. My wife has a great recipe that she found out. Actually, I'll throw the recipe for the dough in the description down below. She found it online, and we've been using it for quite a while now, and it's been a great pizza recipe. And so we make the dough in the bread maker. So you start by we throw all the ingredients in our bread maker pan. It's a really basic recipe, and then throw that into the bread maker itself. It takes about 45 minutes to make the dough. It does it all on its own, and then we just let it sit in there and rise for 15-20 minutes after that. Once that's done, pull the dough out of the bread maker, and we get some pans ready with some foil in them, and throw some olive oil down all over the foil. So one of the things that she has found works the best is actually just to coat your hands with that olive oil right from the pans, split your dough into both pans, and then just work that dough with your hands with the oil on them. Work that dough into the shape of the rectangular pan. The dough doesn't stick to your hands. You're not using any extra flour and drying the dough out or anything like that while you're working with it. You don't need to use rolling pins. You don't need to do anything like that. You just keep working it towards the edges, and it'll shape right into the pan for you really easily. Nothing sticks to you that way. It works really well. So she's been doing that. It's very quick. She can whip up these pizzas in no time at all. And we just use spaghetti sauce for the pizza sauce, adding a little bit of oregano to it, and sometimes a little bit of sugar or salt to get it to taste a little bit differently, more like pizza sauce. We just always buy spaghetti sauce, and we have that available, so it works just as well. Of course, you can buy tomato sauce and season it, or you can buy pizza sauce. So generally in our family, 2 pizzas, one for the girls and one for myself, and sometimes my youngest daughter, who likes a lot of meat on her pizza. We had some ham and some pepperonis available, so that's what we threw on there this time. Bacon is also a favorite, and any vegetables from the garden if it's summertime that we have laying around. Threw some fresh tomatoes on there as well. But once we had the pizzas all ready, cheesed up and sauced up, and whatever toppings we wanted on them, it's time for them to go in the oven. So the way the wood stove works is you get a nice hot fire roaring in the top here, and then there's a handle on the back that allows you to flip a damper. Once you flip that damper forward, it actually routes the flames and the hot gases around the edge of this stove right along the sides of this, and then it directs it to the back and out the chimney. And so it heats up both the sides and I believe the top and the bottom of this oven as well. It seems to get hot just about all around in there. Of course, the top of the oven is a little bit hotter just because the hot air tends to settle at the top part of the oven here. But it does have a temperature gauge. Now this temperature gauge is a little bit inaccurate. It says right in the instruction manual, so it actually reads about 50 to 100 degrees cooler than the actual temperature in the oven. And I tested that out with my digital thermometer, and it's pretty accurate that it is a little bit off. But once we got it up to about 400 degrees, so it took a little bit of time, waited for it to warm up really good, and then we put the pizzas in there, let the pizzas cook for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I did rotate the top one, flipped them, the top one to the bottom shelf and the middle one to the top shelf. So there is a little bit of a learning curve with getting the oven temperatures even. I noticed that if you have kind of, maybe put more wood on this side than that side, if you have flame on this side than one side or the other, that'll actually cause, this side to heat up more than the other side. And I did notice that we did have that going on, and our pizza kind of cooked a little bit quicker on one side than the other, but not much. It actually cooked pretty evenly. I would say as even, if not more evenly than our electric oven. It took about 20 minutes total to cook these pizzas, and I did also notice that when I opened the door to flip them around, it dropped the oven temperature quite a bit, and it took about 5 minutes for it to get back up to temperature again. There's also an air vent on the oven door itself, which I didn't really find made much difference whether it was open or closed. We kept that air vent closed during the cooking of the pizzas, and it seemed to help the oven warm up a little quicker. But once we pulled that pizza out and cut it up, man, was it good. It actually cooked the center of the pizza and the crust more evenly and better than our electric oven did. We were very happy with how everything turned out, and I cannot wait to cook more in this oven. So I'll put a link in the description so you guys can check this stove out. Again, this is one of the only stoves that I found that actually can cook and heat your home, and it also doesn't have all the high efficiency, catalytic burn tubes and secondary burn chambers and all that stuff that wears out that you need to replace. This is still a very efficient stove, and it's very simple. It's all thick cast iron. The baffles in it, everything in here is going to last a very, very, very long time. So I couldn't be happier with how well built this stove is and how well it's been working for us. And how well the oven works. I mean, it's just so cool to be able to come down here and cook without any electricity. Our power went out a few weeks ago for just a few hours, and it was just cool because we knew that we had this here. We can cook on it. If the power was out for a week, we can heat our home, we can cook on this stove with no problem. We don't need any electricity. So very cool little stove. We've been very happy with it. Let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of you have been asking to see us cook in this thing. I'll have a lot more videos on cooking with it, especially as we learn to use it more. But man, this thing has just been awesome. So I'm super excited to share with you guys how well it's been heating the home and how we've been going about processing and dealing with wood coming in out of the house and all that stuff. So stick around for that. And as always, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to follow along. We've got lots more heating things coming up. I'll be heating our greenhouse this winter. I'll be moving our outdoor wood burner to the greenhouse area here in the next few months, and starting a whole new maple syrup operation. So lots of cool stuff coming up. I'd love to have you guys tag along. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on the video, guys. I always appreciate it. Share with friends and family if you liked the video or you know somebody who might be interested in checking the stove out like this. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.